Hello, I'm back for part 2 of part 1. So, where did I leave off? I am on here to speak about my contribution to marital separation. I'm not here to blame the other person. My partner is not to blame for what I contributed to the decline of the old marriage that we had, the death of the original marriage. Here we go. So, when I speak about old marriage, new marriage, being that I'm not divorced and I am still legally married, however, I am separated, the portion of time when two persons are separated actually constitutes for the ending of that first marital phase. And this is not something that I'm trying to make into a whole technical debate, but the reality or the truth is that if a husband and wife are not cohabitating in the same residence under the same bylaws or the same agreements that they have agreed upon and they're living lives separately, whether they're being faithful to the covenant and not dating or whatever the case may be, you are still bringing death to unison, because how can one be separated? When marriage happens, two become one. And the intent of that is to grow together. So if you're separated, then you are sucking the lifeline out of that marital union. This for me was by force, not by choice. This had to happen. However, the revelations that I've received upon separation are invaluable. Hands down, no argument. I would not trade this process in for anything. Where I am today, where I am today, in my constitution, in my self-awareness, in my ability to show mercy and grace, because God has shown mercy and grace to me, where I am today in the revelation of truth that I was not taught, however I've received because my heart has been humbled through this process and motherhood in order for me not to repeat cycles that I have seen growing up. This had to happen. I couldn't have stayed in the fishbowl and become the person that I've become today. Constitution is not only the way that you are portraying yourself to others, constitution is also the reforming of your mind. And oftentimes what we don't do enough of in marital union is to step back, and you're going to hear me say this term a lot, to step back and examine ourselves. It's not always suggested that two persons separate in a household. The Bible clearly says that when you leave too much time, you leave room for the devil to use that separation as a playing field. However, if you are in covenant, there are two human beings and God. And if you're a believer, you understand that the marriage covenant is to be done under God. So it's God, husband, wife, child. So if husband has left, who's left? God, wife, child, or children. If the wife has left, who's left? God, husband, children. If your children are causing a disarray in your marriage, who's left? If they've exited, who's left? If you've had to remove them, who's left? God, husband, wife. I'm going to beat this horse until this horse can't be beat no more. When it comes to the hierarchy, you have to have structure in every single mode of life. If there is no structure, whatever that situation is deemed to fail. You must have structure. In order for marriage to succeed, we need to have a place, a position that we strongly are convicted that we are to stand in, regardless, sun, shine, rain, day, night, warm, cold, is your position. You know who knows about position? The soldiers over there in Europe. Let me see one of them sneeze or stop, remove themselves from the position, especially when the queen is present or any of the royal party is present. You better stand yourself there and stand in your position. The military knows this. This is what they live by. Rain, sleet, snow, weather, high water, heaven or hell, you stand in your position. Those of you, I don't know who I'm talking to, stand in your position. Don't worry about what your spouse is doing. Stand in your position. If that human being has exited, guess what? You're still in covenant with God. And if God is keeping you, what you tripping about? So that's my contribution to this particular segment of part 2, is that once I understood where I stood, then all I could continue to do is to work on me. It started in the home. It started when the nucleus was still